Hello there. Welcome to Speaking of Business. I'm your host, Nancy Boyle, and today we're going to be talking about branding. Now, we've all heard the term, but what does it really mean and how does it fit into your marketing plan? Joining me are Jennifer Holland with Holland Creative and Jay Hewling with the Consulting Copywriter. So, welcome.
Thank you.
And let's sort of acknowledge what it is that you guys do in your businesses, because you, my friend Jennifer, are a certified brand strategist, so you need to tell us what that is. And then we got to find out from Jay, since you are an award-winning playwright, and then we'll work it all into marketing and branding. How's that sound?
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Jennifer.
Well, I am a certified brand strategist, one of only 31 in the country, and the only one in Northeast Florida. That means that I went through sort of a master's level rigor in brand strategy. I continue to meet with my consortium twice a year to continue to evolve best practices.
Great. Mm-hmm. And then tell us about Holland Creative, because there's a lot going on there.
Yes, we have evolved. It's been 17, 18 years in business. So we have an award-winning creative studio, mm-hmm. and we have a brand consultancy with the certified brand strategist approach that all my colleagues use. And then we have the Build Your Brand DIY workshops, mm-hmm. That are really helping small businesses understand brand, because I'm really glad you're having this conversation today, because so many people have a misperception of what a brand is, and we need to demystify that. We need to make it simple to understand, because everybody has a brand, as Jay would say, whether they like it, know it, or not.
Well, we're going to find out more about that. But Jay, let's come to you.
Well, as you said, I'm a playwright, but I'm also a marketing strategist, and you might go, well, what aren't those two different things? But they're really not.
Okay.
And my plays get produced all over the country. In fact, in theater circles, I'm known for a comedy called Elvis of Nazareth.
Oh, boy, that sounds good.
It's a great play.
Thank you. It was actually...
I have a signed copy.
Yeah, well, several people do. It's actually, it was chosen as one of the best short plays in America a few years ago, and it was published.
Congratulations.
So thank you. But in marketing, that's what you do as well, because in live theater, you're wanting a reaction from the audience, okay? And to me, marketing is the same way. When I'm writing something, a radio commercial, a television commercial, a marketing plan, a direct mail piece for a client, I'm wanting a reaction from their audience, whether that's an emotional reaction or a reaction of them actually buying a product or service. So
sure.
As much as they might seem like two different things, they actually use the exact same emotional appeals to produce a response. And that's really more of what I do in marketing, is direct response.
Which is really important, because marketing wasn't that difficult way back when your competitor was across town. But now your competitors all over the world, mm-hmm. and you've got to, while that's good for small businesses because they can compete on more of a level playing field, it's tougher because your message is out there amongst a whole bunch of other messages. And you're right. I think that's what marketing is all about, is eliciting that response from the customer, and whether it's buying your product or whether it's just to have an emotional feel-good reaction to it, is really important. So let's talk branding. Miss Branding Strategist. What is branding? What is a brand? Is it different from branding? I remember I first heard the word, all I thought was cowboys and hot irons and cows,
Which is its origination.
Yeah. So, so tell us about sort of the nuances.
Well, there are a lot of misperceptions out there about brand. People think that, and you've heard this, mm-hmm. there's a pretty good understanding now that a brand is more than a logo. I think most people understand that now, and that wasn't true maybe 5 years ago. But truly, brand has evolved to so much more in a space where there's a plethora of communication opportunities. Truly, a brand is the experience. Mm-hmm. And how you communicate it amongst whatever channel you choose, it must resonate with what's being lived inside the organization. So I think that's the biggest takeaway from a brand, is it's so much more than just the logo or it's the whole experience. So brand development is the uncovering of what's unique about you, who you are, what you do different, and what you're capable of becoming. You have to get to that vision of what you're capable of becoming, or someone's going to catch up with you. Branding is all those tactics. It's that logo, it's that brochure, it's the website, it's all the stuff.
Okay.
Even the way your employees live the brand is part of a branding component. But brand development's the uncovering, branding is the stuff, and a brand is the experience. So there's the three little buckets.
Okay. Now, where does that fit into the marketing? Because I think a lot of people, like you said, to them the brand is the logo and that's about it. But it's more than just what we've been talking about. It's all encompassing in the marketing plan, correct?
Well, yeah, to make it simple, there's three things,
Okay.
in marketing. You've got the market, the people you're talking to,
Sure.
okay? You've got your message, what are you saying to them? And then you've got the media, okay? How are you delivering that message? Really, to try to make it simple, those three things, okay?
Okay.
So brand and branding kind of touches all of those. Now, more so the message part of it, but really all three of those things. The mistake that I find that most businesses make is that they start with media. Now, the three,
Interesting,
those
yeah.
three legs, they're all three important, okay? But the typical thing is a business sits around and goes, we need some more customers, we need some more clients, what do we do? Well, let's put an ad in the paper.
Or the radio salesperson comes by, hey, we're having a special on this radio advertisement, don't you want to buy some? And
Yeah,
they see-
right. And then
Sure, because our
somebody-
demographics meet your demographics.
Oh yeah, look how close it is.
Right.
Somebody puts together a plan and says, here's our media plan. We're going to do this many billboards, we're going to do this much radio, we're going to do this TV, and you've got this great plan, and businesses love that. Problem is, what are you going to, it's the cart before the horse.
Gotcha.
Okay? The really important thing is to really start with either that message, once you've done what Jennifer takes people through with her brand workshop, we really understand your business, what makes you unique. And then, what does the market want? Okay, if I'm selling hot dogs, okay, I want to communicate that message to people who like hot dogs.
And are hungry. Because you wanted to buy now.
Right.
See, we have in direct marketing, we have a kind of a little saying where we say you can't sell steak to vegetarians.
No.
That's where we go. And it's true, there's nothing wrong with either one of them, but if you're Omaha Steaks and you've got a list and you're sending it to a bunch of vegetarians, your marketing is not going to work no matter
it's
what
not.
you've
Your
done.
ROI is definitely
Okay.
not going to be there.
No, yeah. A lot of
So-
wasted money.
So really, that's how it all fits together, brand and marketing and all these things.
And you have to market. You have to market. And truly, you really need to brand, because even if you don't actively choose it, you will still be perceived by your audience in a way that may or may not be favorable. It's not up to you, because we don't own the brand. You don't own the SBRN brand. Jay doesn't own his brand. I don't own the audience owns our brand. We
Okay.
can only corral what we want those perceptions of our brand to be through experiences, through marketing communications, through the traditional channels. What is it like before they buy, while they're buying, and after they buy? A lot of people don't look at the full life cycle of a customer experience. They start here, they promote, most of them promote, and then they get over here and they're doing, they're maybe pretty good at the experience. Maybe not. Maybe it's a transaction online and there's not much to the experience. But you might have a shopping cart full and a lot of bounces, and that tells you that experience isn't good. Or someone coming to your place of business, and what's that experience like? But quite often afterwards, what's that experience like? Let's say you bought something and it breaks. Are you outsourcing your repairs to a contracted vendor? And how do they show up? And are they easy to work with? And are they a good reflection of your brand? Because you're subcontractors and your strategic partners must be a reflection of your brand, or I don't care how good this was terrible, and now you've got a bad online reputation.
Which makes it much more difficult to corral that customer again.
That's
It's easier to
right.
get the new customer. I mean, obviously, loyal customers are the best, and if you can get referrals from them, or you get somebody new, but you're right, if you don't deliver,
They're not coming back. And that's
They're
our
not coming
example
back.
between branding and marketing. You should share that story.
Well, yeah, I always, when we're talking, we're in meetings and I'm talking with people about it, I always kind of give an analogy if we were nutrition experts, okay? And if you went to Jennifer and you said, I want to get healthy, I want to lower my cholesterol, Jennifer's going to, if she was a nutrition expert, her branding way of doing things is she's going to put you on a program, she's going to get you eating lean meats, lots of fruits and vegetables,
Lifestyle
lots
change.
of water,
Right.
exercise, and 6 months, a year later, you're going to really change your life, and it's going to be all for the
And
better.
it's going to be sustainable.
right.
It'll be sustainable.
Now,
Okay.
with me, if you come to me, I'm going to say, here's 2 pills, take this, in the morning, you're going to be skinny. You know.
Oh, if
Okay.
you could do that, honey, you'd be making $1 million.
Now, exactly. See, and that's in direct marketing. I'm saying you're going to get this right now. Now, what I'm going to offer you might kill you, but you're going to have that result right now. Okay. So really, the question is, why do one or the other? In reality, you need both. So they really match much more so than most businesses and most ad agencies and most people in the business actually use them. They usually are seen separately. And
Okay.
But
really,
they're
really need to
interdependent.
be together.
Because imagine if you deliver that pill that's going to fix them overnight, and then it wears off the next day, you got to come back and get the pill again, right? You got to keep paying for the same thing over and over and over. So your long-term investment is substantially more. And if you aren't truly living and operationalizing your brand through your people, and that's where most folks don't pay attention to the people part, but it's integral. But with you have your, forgive me, you have the people aligned with, I'm sorry, I completely lost I hope we can cut this a little bit.
Well, what we're saying here is, if you have to have a congruent message with what the experience that people are having. If you're a bank and
Sure.
your whole marketing thing is to say we're the friendly bank, okay, and that's what you see in brochures, that's what you see in ads, that's what you see on TV. We're the friendly bank. But then when we go into the bank, the
People are
employees are
mean.
grumpy.
Right.
Yeah.
They're rude.
not the
I
experience.
wait forever.
But if you pay over and over and over with the marketing guy, and now you've lost those new customers that won't come back again because they don't believe you, it's so much harder to get them back in the door. How much more does it cost now to get that customer back in the door? Whereas if you had take a parallel path and you're working on your marketing while you're working on your brand, over time, in that moment of need, that consumer will think of you because of the brand message, a singular message that clearly says why you over anyone else. So imagine that you're being lifted out of the cluttered marketplace. You're being known for one thing. At the moment that you need that one thing, if all that advertising has been communicating that one thing, you'll make it into the consideration set. As opposed to with direct marketing, if you don't have that component, you're hoping you're getting them in the right moment, or you're giving them a strong incentive to try you in that moment, right? Which is part of Jay's gift, is getting them to try you in that moment. But what happens over time, if you've got the brand piece, is your marketing dollars go down because you've
Okay.
invested in the brand. And
Okay.
it doesn't cost as much to communicate that message because you already owned that parking space in their mind.
Okay.
And that's key.
Well, let's start with sort of the downside. And this is, I don't know how I want to ask this, but in your experience, can you maybe relate a situation where there has not been the brand congruence? And then we'll flip it over and kind of walk through the process of making sure you have all these components congruent. Does that make sense?
I think so. I think the example he started with
Well,
is
I
probably...
have one. I won't name the
Sure,
client,
no.
but I was working for a bank, and we had a really cool campaign going on, which was basically, it was I want, and there was a blank line, okay? And then you'd fill in what you wanted. So I want a secure retirement, was handwritten. Or I want a fabulous vacation, okay? And those were the ads, and you had lifestyle type ads where you saw people on the beach and it says, I want a fabulous vacation. And the whole idea was you'd go into the bank and say that, and then they would be able to deliver that. And it was working like gangbusters. You had
People coming in.
Had people going in saying, you know, I want a secure retirement. What do I need to do? Well, what they hadn't done is trained the employees on how to deliver that. So then they have your marketing's working, your ads are working, your direct mail is working, you've got people actually coming into, new customers coming in saying, I need to work on my retirement plan. What do? I want a secure retirement. And then they couldn't follow through. So now you don't have the people
Bad
structure
mojo.
that she helps you with.
Well, so now take that same message and let's turn that into a brand. What if you're
Okay.
the bank that's known for the place where no matter what you want, they make it happen? They're the wish fulfillment center of your lifestyle choice,
Okay.
right? So then now you just have the start of a brand message that follows a marketing campaign. And if you operationalize it with your people and they're empowered to deliver that in the moment of need. So someone comes in, they've been trained,
Okay.
they understand that's the biggest thing that happens all the time. People don't educate their own people that there's a marketing campaign going on.
Oh, wow. I
Yeah.
hadn't thought about that, but you're right.
In a large
Yeah.
organization, marketing's doing all kinds of messaging. Nobody knows what's out there. You have to share it internally.
You better.
So not only are you doing that, but also you want to help them be empowered to actually make decisions on brand. So you come in, you want to buy, I want my new yacht. Well, you really can't have a yacht because you don't make enough money. Well, maybe you train them to help them, I don't know, maybe you coach, maybe they become financial representatives who are also life coaches. I don't know. Maybe you
Yeah.
create a certification program inside the organization to help them live the brand. And now they're saying, oh, you know how you can get that? Here's what you need to do. Let's talk through. What do you love to do? How can you pick up a second job? I mean, whatever it is. I mean, if there's truly something outside of the possibilities. Or why don't we start with a small boat and then you can sell it and make some money on it. So let's get you something smaller and keep it for 6 months and then sell it for more than you bought it and then come back and we'll finance the next one. And so you give them a couple of ways. Now look how that looks as living that brand image of I can have anything I want, right? So then the I Want campaign becomes really powerful. But as a standalone, it's a one-shot deal. And then without people, it's a no-shot deal, right?
Yeah, it doesn't work
doesn't
if
work.
you can't deliver it. So.
Well, and I think that's such a huge point because it's just so hard to get them back. And,
It's expensive to get
well,
them back.
and think about it too. When you like something, you're a raving fan of it. Oh, Jennifer, I just tried blah. You got to try it, okay? And then it's a bad experience. Hey, Jennifer, this is terrible. I'm going to put up a billboard. Jay, don't buy this stuff.
Right.
Fred, Susie, I mean, it's exponential. So
Absolutely.
and you're shooting yourself in the foot. And I think a lot of times business owners don't get that. I mean, they're so busy with what's right here, which is Jay's part, that they're not seeing what the ripple effect
Well,
is.
and I think they're looking at it in a moment of crisis often. I mean, I think
Yeah.
that's what I find more often than
Sure.
not is like, we need a change right now. And marketing will change it right now. But to your point, it's an expensive operation
Sure.
because it's not going to work. It's
Right.
going to work right now, and then we're not going to be able to get those people back. Or if we are, we're going to spend a lot of dollars getting those people back in the door, and maybe a pretty serious offer. I have no doubt Jay could come up with a way, but I also know that it would cost a lot.
Right.
So that's the big trade-off.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't have that experience that you're promised, that word of mouth advertising is going to work against you.
Sure it is.
If we're at some cocktail party, okay, and someone's talking, and I overhear someone saying, we just did this big direct mail campaign, we didn't get any response whatsoever, okay? And I go, oh gosh, and I hear what their problem is, and I tap them on the shoulder and say, oh, I've solved that problem 5,000 times, I can help you like right now. They're just going to look at me and say, who's this creepy guy by the cheese dip?
Eavesdropping. Yeah.
But if someone else has a conversation, and then Jennifer says, hey, you see that guy standing there by the cheese dip? He solved that problem 5,000 times. You need to talk to him. That's a totally different experience.
Sure it
is. So now that person goes over and says, I've got this problem. I hear you can help me. Okay, that's really what you want people doing. You want people coming to you, hearing. So when you have these experiences, people come to you and say, can you help me? As opposed to your marketing pushing it on people and saying, buy my product right now.
And you're known for it.
Yeah.
It's what you're known for, and that's key. That person that had the bad experience and doesn't come back, it's 12 to 18 months to change a perception, a brand perception. So marketing, they'll get feet in the door quickly, but if you have a bad experience, you got a 12 to 18 month time period to turn it.
And in some businesses, that's a kiss of death.
That's why we always talk about this parallel path. You need to do both. You need to be marketing, keep marketing, and get your brand work started and stay on it. People don't think about brand as a long-term initiative, but it is. It's one of the most valuable assets potentially in your company. It's the intangible value of your company, right?
It's who you are.
It's who you are. It's your reputation in the marketplace. It has a financial impact to your business, whether you go to sell it or whether you command a premium price. And it is incredibly important if you want to have longevity. If you only want to own a business for a short period of time, don't worry about it.
Well, let's start from the beginning. Let's say I'm opening a business and I want to do it right because I saw this fabulous TV show and y'all were on it. And so let's just sort of take it a step by step, and then maybe we'll look at how do you tweak something that's a little bit broken.
Okay.
So I just started this widget manufacturing business. What do I do first?
Okay, so the first thing we would do is we do some intelligence gathering. And,
Okay.
and Jay and I have done these together where we've gone in and came to if we're on the same team because we work together just for this purpose, we will learn about the organization. So we learn about your organization,
Okay.
Understand where you've been, what your goals are, what your business objectives are, sort of the long-term planning. And then I'm going to come in and lead a discovery workshop.
Okay.
I'm going to lead that with a cross-section of your team
Okay.
so that we have buy-in from all areas. Stakeholders, whatever. If you have channel partners that are integral in the business, we might bring them in.
Okay.
Jay's going to be in the room. If he's part of this team, we're focused on marketing and branding. He's in the room during this time, and we did this with the school.
Right.
Actually.
I'm usually causing trouble in some way, but I'm there.
Somebody's got to do it.
Somebody's
But
gotta-
some really great insights come out of that workshop. But at the end of the day, we walk out of the room with consensus on your 3 to 5 unique value propositions.
Okay.
Why you over anyone else. We walk out of the room with that what's different. We walk out of the room with, again, what is the potential for the future? What could this look like if we did these couple things? So
Okay.
things that may not be true today, but could be and would make you really different. Because in manufacturing, we get that a lot where they say, but I'm not really different. Okay, but you could be.
Yeah.
You have to go through the ideation to understand what it could be. And then we end up with an equal statement before we walk out of the room. What does that equal? And everyone agrees on it. So everybody's walking out of the room now from all the information that came in. They're walking out with a singular equal statement and 3 to 5 unique value propositions. Even if they never did anything else, they're now talking different.
Okay.
You see, everybody in that room is now communicating, oh yeah, well we da-da-da-da-da. So incredibly important. Then we turn it into a paragraph. We call it a brand essence statement of why you over anyone else. And it's
Okay.
built from those UVPs.
Okay.
Then we go away and we come up with how do we communicate it? What is the positioning? And there's a big difference between tagline and positioning.
Okay.
The tagline is that sexy slogan.
Okay.
No real content. It might be memorable, but it doesn't have any real impact, and it doesn't communicate your value proposition.
Okay.
The positioning line is that same line, but now it's supported. First of all, it positions the benefit to your audience of your value proposition. Why you over anyone else? In a singular communication. And then it also is capable of building internal programs. Think about an employee rewards program built under the brand.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yes, and then externally communicated.
Okay.
So that's your advertising. But it's the same line. So the biggest mistake I see with businesses who think they've gone through a rebrand is they've come up with some sort of what they're calling a positioning line.
Okay.
And it's only, if it's a good one, most common mistake is that it's only communicated externally well. There's nothing to live internally. So now you want to simplify your communications. This is a complicated world.
Yes.
You want to make it easy for that new employee who walks in the door to get you so that they can start communicating your value to everyone they talk to. They come in the door with a whole bunch of new audiences, right? They come in with their family, their friends. You don't know, their uncle could be a big prime target for you and you
Sure.
didn't even know it. And they come in the door and you don't engage them and they don't get why you, and they go through that 90-day period. You may lose them in that period, and now you just spent a lot of money for who you thought might have worked out, who doesn't get you and could never communicate about you. So you want to pay attention to every single possible audience, and your internal one is uniquely important because they are your biggest, we call it a touch point, your biggest touch point. You can only get so many brochures out in front of someone, but everybody in your organization that's living and breathing you knows people. So, you want to add to that? I mean, I'm just, I don't know, my little
then
tyrant.
The question is, then what do you do? Because we have a saying in marketing, we say, marketing, doing business without marketing is like winking at somebody in the dark. You know what you're doing,
Sure.
but nobody else does.
Right.
I mean, that's kind of the joke that we make. And so at some point, you've got to go through all that, but you have to communicate that to that audience. So then what I end up doing is really focusing on the market. And who is your market? Who buys what you sell? Why do they want it? What it does for them? Because we all really don't buy product for the product. Okay?
Right.
We buy for the emotional reason.
Right.
We buy for
what
what
it
we think
gives
it's going to
us.
do for us.
Right, exactly.
Nobody wants a checking account.
Well, and to add to what you're saying, I mean, in the brand work we do, that is part of the consideration. We wouldn't ever put out a brand message that's just about the product. It
Right.
is always about you're always looking at the audience. It's the value proposition to your audience. So
Yeah.
that part is in place.
Yeah. You don't buy a drill to own a drill, you buy it to make a hole.
Right.
Yeah.
And you want
Or
the
you-
hole to do something else.
Right, exactly.
And you buy the best drill because you want the best, because it says something about you. I am a master handyman, even though I only do it on weekends.
Uh-huh.
It's who you are that is why you make the choices you do, right?
Sure.
If you choose to stay in the Ritz-Carlton, it's because I like luxury, right? Or if
You
you
want
choose
the
to stay,
experience.
yeah, or if you choose to just stay, I just want to stay in the shack on the beach because I am unpretentious and I go with the flow. It's okay. It's whatever moves you. I mean, would you?
What businesses don't usually understand is that they're also in competition with doing nothing.
Yes.
Okay.
You talked about competition earlier. Okay, a lot of times your competition isn't, if you're a restaurant, your competition is not necessarily the restaurant across the street. The competition is I can either eat at home, I can order a pizza, I can go hungry, I can do whatever. Okay, so sometimes doing nothing is also your competition. So what, as Jennifer talked about, what is that unique thing that's going to make me choose you over anyone else, including not choosing anyone?
And then consistently communicate it.
Okay.
Consistently.
And on that note, we just ran out of time. So you in the audience, thank you for joining us today. And remember, you want some information on branding or marketing, Jennifer Holland, Holland Creative, Jay Hewling, the consulting copywriter. See ya.